Hello all you card-loving cosmonauts, as always I am Cosmic, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Elder Scrolls Legends, which is the new strategy CCG based in the Elder Scrolls world, brought to you by, of course, none other than Bethesda. Now the game itself is a strategy card game, very similar in style to its competitors, the likes of Hearthstone and the like, but with some very unique differences and twists on the digital card game genre. The game itself launched on May 31st, so just under a month ago, and I finally got time to sit down with it and take it through its paces. Now, as a big fan of digital CCG games, I have to say that straight out from the outset, I was pretty impressed with Elder Scrolls Legends. There are a couple of mechanics in this game that I feel put it in place to really compete against the like of Hearthstone. The reason for that is that the way that each and every individual match works is simple but very engaging, and it adds a layer of strategy that you don't really see in games like Hearthstone that have a single board. So each match is set up in two lanes, and you have two lanes to place monsters. You have a normal lane and then you have a shadow lane. If you place a monster down in the shadow lane, it is then hidden for one turn and cannot be attacked, which adds a layer of strategy within itself. On top of that, you have multiple action cards, cards that have various effects. You also have, like any other game, a magic system that goes up in each turn so that you can apply bigger and more powerful cards as you progress. What I really enjoyed about the Elder Scrolls Legends, I have to say, was the pacing and the strategy. I think that for a CCG to truly resonate with me, and I would dare to say a lot of players, there has to be a nice balance between RNG and skill. And I think Elder Scrolls Legends applies that very well. I felt that a lot of times in Hearthstone, no matter how good your deck is sometimes, you will fall prey to the RNG gods at some point. Whereas in Elder Scrolls Legends, that's certainly true, and you will find that you fall, prey to those gods at certain times, but you always feel like you're in it. You never feel like at an early point you've lost the battle beyond return. And that is because of the way that the board is set up. That is because you have a shadow lane, you have a normal lane, and you can use those to your advantage. And then you can play combination cards, effects, skill, magic cards. You have cards that produce ongoing effects throughout the match, in particular like Hrothgar's Forge, which basically every turn, the first monster that you play down, that card will equip it with a random item. And there's things like that and cards like that and plays and moves like that that just really bring this game to life. And it certainly has that RNG element, but you never really feel like you're completely out of the game. Even if you draw a first bad hand, the chances are that you will at least at some point be able to play a move that could possibly bring you back into the game. On top of that, you also have the Rune System. The Rune System is a rune system whereby you have 5 runes around your character. Each time you take a hit, for every 5 points of damage you've taken, a rune will be destroyed. That rune will grant you a card. Some cards will have the Prophecy keystone, which would mean that if you draw a Prophecy card once a rune is destroyed, you can instantly, for free, play that card even though it's the opponent's turn. And there's just multiple mechanics within Elder Scrolls Legends just like that help you pull yourself back from a bad game. Now, it's always never going to be that way. Sometimes you're just going to have a bad game no matter what. But I think that it does a really good job in, like I say, blending that RNG and skill element so that it feels engaging throughout. You never feel like you're out for the count completely most of the time. And it allows you to have that strategic depth to the game that, you can pull off some impressive moves and impressive combination plays, and I absolutely loved it from start to finish. There were, however, a couple of things that I didn't like. One of the things that I didn't like is the fact that a lot of the time the game just looks too goddamn brown. I think the artwork of the cards is wonderful, some of the spell effects are really good, but sitting on that Elder Scroll and then, that's brown, and then being on a brown side table with brown and cream candles with more brown and books that are brown, and it's just boring and it's drab, and I don't think that it is colourful to look at. It would be nice if there were multiple backgrounds and maps to play on. It would be nice if it just had some vibrancy and life about it. And on the one hand, the brown aesthetic really does put into focus those card artworks, which is really nice, but at the same time it is very dull to look at, and I think that is a real big letdown for a game that had such a big budget and a big backing from Bethesda. Now, like I mentioned at the start of the video, the game has a single player and a multiplayer. The single player is a single player story which tells you a tale, and you're allowed to make choices through that story which grants you extra cards depending on what choices you make. And as a single player CCG, Elder Scrolls Legends is fantastic. It is really, really good. It was an enjoyable story. There's enjoyable matches that have unique mechanics that you won't find in the multiplayer, and the expansions that are coming to it will only really reinforce that and bring more of that great content. Hearthstone in particular is a game that I played for a very long time, and some of the most fun I had in Hearthstone was the single player stuff, and it can be the most challenging, it can be the most fun, and it can be the most wacky, and you can really have fun with it. And as a single player story goes in a CCG, Elder Scrolls Legends is right up there for that, and I think that if you enjoy single player stories, CCGs, this is perfect for you. In terms of the multiplayer, I absolutely love the multiplayer. However, there are a couple of things that I didn't like, but there are, the same amount of things that I really did. I like the fact that in the ranked mode, once you hit a certain rank, so if you get up to rank 7, if you lose a load of matches after that point, you go down into the serpent zone and you don't fall below that. So unlike Hearthstone, where you can get up to rank 6 and then have a terrible run from the RNG gods and drop back down to rank 8, that does not happen in Legends, which is a really nice feature. There are a couple of problems with the multiplayer, that being said. One of them is the fact that for the most part, there are a couple of meta problems and a couple of power cards that are very, very overpowered right now. That said, I love the fact that you can really customize what deck you want. You can have combination decks, so unlike other CCGs where it's rigid, where it's just one deck theme, you can combine decks in Elder Scrolls Legends, so you can have, fighters with something else, and it really does, you can have agility and strength deck, you can have, magic and strength deck, whatever you want, and you can really build it and customize it to your playstyle and the things that you like. And that flexibility really does translate in both the single player and the multiplayer, and it's something that I feel is a really big core strength of the title. Overall, Elder Scrolls Legends is a really great free-to-play CCG. I was pleasantly surprised by the quality, the flexibility, the strategic depth, and ultimately the fun factor of the game. There are a couple of minor flaws within the title itself. I don't like the aesthetic. I think the quest system could be better. I think the rewards in terms of the gold could be better. It's very skewed towards, hey, go purchase $2.99 worth of decks, and I don't want to do that. I just want to earn in-game currency, and it is a bit of a grind when you go the in-game currency route. But that being said, I do love the fact that the core of the game in terms of the single player and the level up process is very generous with giving you new cards. You also have a level system within the cards, that some cards can be leveled up and transformed into their value. They transform values and as well as abilities and effects that the cards have. That's a really nice system, but I don't think it's particularly fleshed out as well as it could have been. But like I said, overall, a fantastic game, fantastic free-to-play CCG. If you enjoy the Elder Scrolls, you'll love it. If you enjoy CCGs, you'll love it. If you enjoyed Hearthstone, but are frustrated with many of the things that many Hearthstone players get frustrated at, then certainly Elder Scrolls Legends is definitely worth a look, just for that extra layer of strategic depth in its core mechanics. And for me, it is probably a must-play if you enjoy CCGs. And that is the Elder Scrolls Legends review. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe, share the video on social media, and as always, I will see you next time.